When we think of death, it often brings a shiver down our spines, a natural reaction to the unknown and the finality of life. But throughout history, different cultures have embraced death not just as an end, but as a vital part of existence. In many ancient societies, goddesses of death were not merely figures of fear, but also of reverence, protection, and transformation. In ancient Greece, the goddess Persephone is both beautiful and tragic. She was a beloved daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, and lived a joyful life above ground. Yet, her story took a dark turn when Hades, the god of the underworld, abducted her. Persephone's descent into the underworld marked her transformation from a symbol of life to one of death and rebirth. Her story is a poignant reminder of how death and life are interwoven. Each year, as Persephone returns to the surface, she brings spring and renewal, symbolizing how death is not the end but a transition to something new. Across the world, in ancient Egypt, the goddesses Isis and Nephthys played essential roles in guiding souls through the afterlife. Isis, known for her magical prowess and deep love for her husband Osiris, was a protector of the deceased. She helped the dead find peace and ensured their safe passage to the afterlife. Her sorrow and strength in reuniting with Osiris after his death showed the profound connection between love and loss. Nephthys, her sister, was equally important. Though her role was often overshadowed, she was a guardian of the dead, attending to their needs and ensuring they were treated with respect. Their stories highlight how death goddesses were seen as both caretakers and protectors, ensuring that the dead were honored and that their spirits found rest. In Hindu mythology, Kali and Yama hold significant positions. Kali, the fierce goddess with a necklace of skulls and a tongue that drips blood, represents the destruction necessary for creation. Her fearsome appearance is not meant to terrify, but to show that death is a powerful force of transformation. Through Kali's dance of destruction, old forms of existence make way for new beginnings. Yama, on the other hand, is the god of death and justice. He judges the souls of the departed and ensures they receive their due reward or punishment. Yama's role is a reminder of the balance and fairness inherent in death, emphasizing that it is not just an end but a transition governed by cosmic laws. In Norse mythology, Hel presides over the realm of the dead. She is depicted with a half-living, half-dead visage, representing her control over those who die of sickness or old age. Hel's realm is a place where souls find a final resting place, a stark contrast to the fiery realm of Niflheim. Her presence reflects the Norse belief that death is an essential part of life cycle and that it is a place of peace and quiet, rather than torment. Across the Atlantic, the Aztecs honored Mictecacituatl, the queen of the underworld. She was both a fierce and compassionate figure, overseeing the dead and ensuring they were cared for. Her role was central to Aztec beliefs about the afterlife, where death was not an end but a passage to another existence. Mictecacituatl's story is a testament to how death was woven into the fabric of Aztec culture, reflecting their view of the afterlife as a continuation rather than a conclusion. In Celtic mythology, the Morrigan is a multifaceted goddess associated with war, fate, and death. Her presence on the battlefield signified both the power and inevitability of death. The Morrigan could appear as a crow or a beautiful woman, embodying the dual nature of death as both a harbinger of doom and a necessary part of existence. Her ability to foretell the future and influence the outcome of battles underscores how death was seen as a force that shaped the world. In Slavic mythology, Marzana is a goddess of winter and death. She represents the harshness of winter and the end of the old year, but her story is also about renewal. Festivals in her honor mark the end of winter and the coming of spring, illustrating how death is closely linked with rebirth and new life. In African traditions, Mamiwata is a goddess of water, death, and fertility. Her connection to water makes her a symbol of both life and death, reflecting the idea that these forces are deeply intertwined. Eshu, another African deity, serves as a trickster and mediator between the living and the dead, highlighting the dynamic and complex nature of death in these cultures. Common themes among these death goddesses are their roles as both protectors and guides. They are not only feared but also revered, embodying the balance between life and death. Symbols associated with these goddesses, such as Persephone's pomegranate, Kali's skulls, or Mictecacituatl's skeletal visage, speak to their multifaceted nature. These symbols remind us that death is a part of life's continuum, a force that shapes and transforms rather than simply ending it. Persephone's story begins in a world of lush meadows and blooming flowers, where she danced among the springtime blossoms. As the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, Persephone lived a life filled with warmth and joy. She was adored by her mother and cherished by nature itself. The world seemed to bloom around her, and her laughter was as fresh as the spring air. But her idyllic existence was shattered one fateful day. Hades, the god of the underworld, had long admired Persephone's beauty from afar. Consumed by his love for her, he decided to claim her for himself. Without warning, the earth trembled, and the ground beneath Persephone's feet opened up. From the dark abyss, Hades emerged in his chariot, and before she could even grasp what was happening, he took her down into the shadows of the underworld. Persephone's abduction was a moment of pure terror. The once vibrant goddess found herself in a world of darkness and cold, far removed from the sunlight and flowers she once knew. She was trapped in a place where the air was heavy and the colors were muted. The earth above her felt like a distant dream, and the only light came from the distant flames that flickered in the underworld. Persephone, now alone and overwhelmed, could only cling to the hope that her mother would rescue her. Demeter's heart shattered when she discovered her daughter was missing. Her grief was immense, and it soon spread to the earth, causing the crops to wither and the seasons to halt. The world above was in turmoil, and the gods themselves were troubled by the imbalance. Despite the gods' attempts to console her, Demeter's sorrow was boundless. It was only when Zeus, the king of the gods, intervened that a resolution began to take shape. A compromise was struck. Persephone would spend part of the year in the underworld with Hades, but she would return to her mother for the rest of the year. This arrangement became the cycle of the seasons. When Persephone was with Hades, the earth fell into winter, reflecting Demeter's mourning. When she returned to her mother, spring would come, bringing life and renewal to the world. In the underworld, Persephone's role evolved. She became the queen of the dead, ruling alongside Hades. Her presence brought a sense of order and grace to the dark realms. Despite the sorrow of her forced descent, Persephone embraced her role with dignity. She guided souls and ensured that the dead were cared for. Her dual role as both goddess of spring and queen of the dead symbolized the profound connection between life and death. Her presence in the underworld was not merely one of ruling, but also of providing a sense of hope and continuity in the afterlife. Persephone's story left a lasting impact on Greek culture and rituals. Her annual return to the earth marked the beginning of spring, a time of rebirth and renewal. Festivals were held in her honor, celebrating the return of life and the end of winter. The myth of Persephone was more than a tale of love and abduction. It was a reflection of the cycles of nature and the deep connection between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. Through her story, the Greeks understood that life and death were intertwined, each giving meaning to the other. Persephone's journey was a powerful reminder that even in the darkest times, there is the promise of renewal and hope. Her tale echoed through the ages, touching the hearts of those who heard it and shaping the way people viewed the seasons, the cycles of life, and the inevitable passage into the next world. In the heart of ancient Egypt, where the sands whispered tales of gods and goddesses, two powerful sisters held dominion over the mysteries of life and death. Isis and Nephthys, both revered and essential, shaped the lives of the living and the fate of the dead with their divine powers. Isis, the goddess of magic and rebirth, was a beacon of hope and transformation. Her story is deeply entwined with that of her beloved husband, Osiris. When Osiris was cruelly murdered by his jealous brother Set and cast into the Nile, Isis's love and determination knew no bounds. She embarked on a quest across the land to find her husband's body. With her magical prowess and unwavering resolve, she succeeded in retrieving Osiris's remains. But her powers did not stop there. Through a sacred ritual, Isis performed the ultimate act of resurrection, bringing Osiris back to life. This act of divine intervention was more than a miracle. It symbolized the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Isis's role was not just to heal the broken, but to offer the promise of renewal. Her magic and compassion breathed life into the belief that death was not the end, but a gateway to another existence. Nephthys, her sister, played a different but equally crucial role. As a funerary goddess, Nephthys was the guardian of the dead and the protector of graves. Her role was often overshadowed by the more prominent figures in the pantheon, but her presence was no less significant. Nephthys was associated with mourning and the protection of the deceased, ensuring that their journey to the afterlife was safe and respectful. She was often depicted alongside Isis in funerary scenes, providing support and guidance to those who had passed away. Her protective nature extended to the care of the living as well, offering solace and support to those grieving the loss of loved ones. In the realm of death, Nephthys was a comforting and nurturing force, ensuring that the souls of the departed were treated with dignity and respect. The roles of Isis and Nephthys highlight the differing aspects of death and the afterlife in Egyptian belief. While Isis's involvement with death was marked by her act of resurrection and the promise of eternal life, Nephthys' role was centered around the protection and care of the dead. Isis's influence was more about transformation and renewal, embodying the hope that even in death, there is the potential for new beginnings. Her magic and dedication to Osiris brought a sense of continuity and immortality, making her a symbol of life's enduring nature. On the other hand, Nephthys' role was one of solemn duty and reverence. Her presence ensured that the dead were not forgotten and that their passage into the afterlife was secured. Nephthys' association with mourning and funerary rites underscored the importance of honoring the deceased and maintaining the balance between the living and the dead. Her protective nature provided a comforting assurance that the souls of the departed were cared for and that their memories lived on. Together, these goddesses represented the complex and profound relationship between life and death in ancient Egyptian culture. Their stories and roles were a testament to the Egyptians' deep reverence for the cycles of existence and their belief in the enduring nature of the soul. Through Isis's magical resurrection and Nephthys' protective care, the ancient Egyptians found a way to navigate the mysteries of death, holding onto the hope that even in the face of loss, there was always a path to renewal and peace. In the heart of Hindu mythology, two deities stand as powerful symbols of death and transformation, Kali and Yama. Their stories are woven with intense emotion and divine purpose, reflecting the profound impact they have on the cycle of life and death. Kali, the fierce goddess, is known for her startling appearance and immense power. With her dark skin, a necklace of skulls, and a tongue that drips blood, she embodies destruction and transformation. Kali's fearsome visage is not meant to terrify, but to show that destruction is a necessary part of creation. She dances on the battlefield, her steps shaking the foundations of the world, clearing away the old to make way for the new. Her role in mythology is to break down the barriers that confine the soul, allowing for rebirth and renewal. Through her fierce energy, Kali removes the impurities of the world, transforming it into a place where new life can emerge. Kali's influence extends into the lives of mortals, where she is both feared and revered. Her presence is a reminder that change, no matter how daunting, is essential for growth. When people face great upheavals or challenges in their lives, Kali is often invoked to bring strength and resilience. Her role in their lives is profound, helping them navigate through periods of transformation and hardship. Kali's fierce love is a guiding force, pushing individuals to confront their deepest fears and emerge stronger and wiser. In contrast, Yama, the god of death and justice, brings a different kind of solemnity to the cycle of life. He is depicted as a stern figure, often shown riding a buffalo and carrying a noose. Yama's domain is the afterlife, where he judges the souls of the departed. His role is to ensure that every soul receives their due justice, balancing the scales of good and evil. Yama's presence in the afterlife is one of order and fairness, making sure that each person's actions in life are accounted for. Yama's influence on mortals is significant but often subtle. People turn to him for guidance in living a righteous life, hoping to earn favor and avoid a harsh judgment after death. His role is not just to judge, but to remind the living of the importance of living a life of virtue. By understanding Yama's principles of justice, people strive to lead lives that are honorable and just. His presence serves as a moral compass, encouraging individuals to reflect on their actions and make choices that align with their highest values. The interactions of Kali and Yama with mortals highlight their differing aspects of death and transformation. Kali's influence is raw and intense, driving people to face and overcome their fears and limitations. Her role in transformation is dramatic and powerful, helping individuals break free from the old and embrace the new. Kali's presence in their lives is a catalyst for profound change, pushing them to evolve and grow. Yama, on the other hand, embodies the principles of justice and order. His role is to oversee the afterlife with fairness and balance, ensuring that every soul's journey is handled with integrity. Yama's presence is a reminder of the importance of living a righteous life, as the consequences of one's actions are weighed after death. His influence is more about maintaining harmony and ensuring that the cycle of life and death remains just and fair. Together, Kali and Yama represent the complex and multifaceted nature of death and transformation in Hindu mythology. Kali's fierce energy and transformative powers show that destruction is a part of creation, while Yama's role as a just judge ensures that the cycle of life is balanced and fair. Their stories reflect the deep understanding that life and death are intertwined, and that both are essential to the spiritual journey. In the chilling expanse of Norse mythology, there exists a figure whose presence looms over the afterlife with an eerie grace. Hel, the daughter of the trickster god Loki, governs a domain that is as bleak as it is significant, embodying both the somber and essential aspects of death in the Norse cosmos. Hel's domain is a shadowy and desolate place, known simply as Hel. It is not a place of fiery torment or eternal punishment, but rather a cold, dark realm where those who died of sickness or old age find their final rest. The landscape of Hel is marked by its unending gloom, where the sky is perpetually overcast and the ground is barren. Inhabitants of this realm, the souls of the dead, live in a state of quiet resignation. They do not suffer in the traditional sense, but exist in a quiet, unchanging state. This is not a place of misery or torment, but a place of stillness, where time seems to stand still, and the echoes of the living fade away. Hel, as the daughter of Loki, carries a unique and complex heritage. Her father, Loki, is known for his cunning and mischief, often causing chaos among gods and mortals alike. Her mother, the giantess Angerboda, was a figure of fear and power in her own right. From this lineage, Hel inherited both a formidable presence and a deep connection to the underworld. Her appearance reflects her dual nature. Half of her body is living and beautiful, while the other half is decayed and skeletal, symbolizing her role as the ruler of the dead. This striking image captures the essence of her dominion, both the physical reality of death and the continuation of existence beyond it. Hel's role in Norse mythology is profound and multifaceted. As the goddess of the underworld, she holds significant sway over the fate of souls. Unlike other mythological figures associated with death, Hel is not a deity of retribution, but rather a caretaker of those who have passed away from the world. Her realm is not a place of punishment but of rest, reflecting the Norse belief that death is a natural and inevitable part of existence. In Norse sagas and cosmology, Hel's influence extends beyond mere governance of her realm. Her character embodies the Norse understanding of death as a part of the grand cycle of life and the afterlife. In the epic tales of the Norse gods, Hel often appears as a figure of both inevitability and respect. Her presence in these stories highlights the acceptance of death as an integral component of existence, not to be feared but to be understood and respected. The cultural significance of Hel in Norse mythology cannot be understated. She represents the acceptance of death as a natural state rather than an event to be dreaded. Her role underscores the Norse belief in the cyclical nature of life and death, where even in the darkest of places, there is a place and purpose for every soul. Hel's domain is a stark reminder of the Norse view of the afterlife, where even in death, there is a continuation of existence, though it may be marked by stillness rather than activity. Hel's story is a poignant reflection on the nature of death and the afterlife. Her realm, cold and unchanging, serves as a counterpoint to the more fiery and tumultuous aspects of Norse mythology. Through her, the Norse people understood and accepted death as a part of life's journey, finding in her domain a place of calm and permanence amidst the chaos of the living world. Her presence in the myths offers a deep and emotional insight into how the ancient Norse people perceived death, not as an end, but as a transformation into a new, though quieter, state of existence. In the heart of Aztec mythology, where the world is woven with vibrant tales of gods and goddesses, one figure stands as the powerful queen of the underworld and goddess of death, Mictecacituatl. Her presence in Aztec belief is both commanding and profound, reflecting the intricate and deeply held views of life and death in Aztec society. Mictecacituatl reigns over Mictlan, the underworld, a dark and mysterious domain where the souls of the dead journey after their time on Earth has ended. As the queen of this shadowy realm, she is responsible for guiding the deceased through their final resting place. Her role is not one of malevolence but of solemn duty, ensuring that the souls find their place in the afterlife and that the cycles of life and death are maintained with balance. Mictecacituatl is depicted with a skeletal face, often adorned with the trappings of the underworld, symbolizing her dominion over death and her role as a guardian of the dead. The Aztecs honored Mictecacituatl with elaborate rituals and offerings, reflecting their deep respect for the goddess and their understanding of the significance of death. These rituals were not merely acts of reverence, but were integral to their belief system, emphasizing the cyclical nature of life and the importance of honoring the dead. Offerings to Mictecacituatl included food, incense, and precious objects, which were placed on altars and during ceremonies dedicated to her. These offerings were believed to appease the goddess and ensure that the souls of the deceased were properly cared for as they journeyed through the underworld. The rituals also involved intricate ceremonies where priests and priestesses would invoke Mictecacituatl's presence, seeking her favor and guidance. In Aztec society, death was not seen as an end but as a crucial part of the cosmic cycle. The importance of Mictecacituatl's role in their religious practices underscored the belief that death was a natural and essential transition. Her influence extended beyond the realm of the afterlife and into the daily lives of the Aztecs. Death and the afterlife were deeply intertwined with their understanding of existence, and rituals dedicated to Mictecacituatl were a way of maintaining harmony with the gods and ensuring that the spiritual balance was upheld. The Aztecs' reverence for Mictecacituatl and their elaborate death rituals illustrate a profound acceptance of the inevitability of death. Far from being feared, death was embraced as a transition into another form of existence. The ceremonies and offerings made to Mictecacituatl were expressions of gratitude and respect, acknowledging that death was an integral part of life's journey. Through these practices, the Aztecs sought to honor the dead, ensure their peaceful passage, and maintain a connection with the divine forces that governed the cycle of life and death. Mictecacituatl's presence in Aztec mythology is a testament to the rich and complex relationship the Aztecs had with death. Her role as the queen of the underworld and goddess of death highlights the importance of understanding and respecting the cycles of existence. Through their rituals and offerings, the Aztecs demonstrated their deep-seated beliefs and their commitment to maintaining harmony with the forces that shaped their world. In the mists of ancient Celtic mythology, where the echoes of legends and battles intertwine, the Morrigan emerges as a formidable and haunting figure. Her presence is both awe-inspiring and fearsome, representing the intertwined forces of war, fate, and death. The Morrigan is known for her triad of aspects, each embodying a different facet of her divine nature. She appears as a fierce goddess of war, a powerful prophetess of fate, and a shadowy figure of death. In her role as a goddess of war, the Morrigan is a spectral vision on the battlefield. She is said to appear in various forms, sometimes as a raven, sometimes as a woman draped in dark, flowing garments, and other times as a beautiful yet terrifying figure of supernatural strength. Her presence is both a harbinger of doom and a source of strength for those she favors. Warriors who saw her before or during battle believed they were either marked for death or blessed with an invincible spirit. The Morrigan's influence over the outcome of battles is profound, with legends telling of her ability to sway the fates of combatants, determining who would triumph and who would fall. In addition to her role in war, the Morrigan is a goddess of fate, controlling the threads of destiny with a keen and relentless hand. Her prophetic powers were said to reveal the future and the outcomes of battles. The Morrigan's prophecies were not mere predictions, but were imbued with the weight of inevitability. Her words could strike fear into the hearts of those who heard them, knowing that what she foretold was bound to come to pass. This aspect of her nature underscores the belief that the course of human life is deeply connected to the divine forces that govern fate and destiny. The symbolism of the Morrigan is rich and complex. She is often associated with the raven, a bird that signifies both death and transformation. The raven's dark feathers and ominous caw evoke a sense of foreboding, reflecting the Morrigan's role in both war and the end of life. Her connection to the raven symbolizes her ability to traverse between the realms of the living and the dead, acting as a bridge between these two worlds. In Celtic mythology, she is also linked with the land and its cycles, reflecting the deep interconnection between nature, war, and the afterlife. The Morrigan's legacy endures in modern interpretations as well, where she is often portrayed as a symbol of female strength and empowerment. Her image as a powerful and assertive deity has resonated with contemporary audiences, reflecting a deeper understanding of her role in the ancient world. She is seen not only as a goddess of destruction, but also as a protector of the land and its people, embodying the dual nature of creation and destruction. In literature, art, and modern pagan practices, the Morrigan continues to be a figure of fascination and respect, representing the complexities of fate, war, and the cycle of life and death. The Morrigan's presence in Celtic mythology is a testament to the deep and multifaceted understanding of life, war, and death in ancient Celtic culture. Her triad of aspects, the warrior, the prophetess, and the goddess of death, illustrates the intertwined nature of these forces and their impact on the world. Through her portrayal in myth and modern interpretations, the Morrigan remains a powerful and evocative figure, embodying the enduring mysteries of fate and the inexorable cycles of existence. In the frost-kissed landscape of Slavic mythology, Marzanna emerges as a striking figure, embodying the profound cycles of winter, death, and rebirth. Her presence in ancient Slavic culture is a reflection of the deep reverence for the changing seasons and the eternal rhythm of life and death. Marzanna, often depicted as a winter goddess, carries the chilling aura of death and the promise of renewal. She is both feared and revered as the embodiment of winter's harsh grip and the eventual transformation of the seasons. As winter's queen, Marzanna brings with her the cold and stillness that blankets the land, marking a time when nature sleeps and everything is covered in a thick layer of snow. This period is not merely an end, but a necessary pause before the arrival of spring. The rituals and festivals dedicated to Marzanna are vivid and filled with symbolic gestures. One of the most prominent celebrations is the festival known as Marzanna, where the goddess is ceremoniously symbolized by a straw effigy. This effigy, dressed in old clothes and adorned with symbols of winter, is paraded through the village as part of the ritual. At the end of the festival, the effigy is cast into a river or burned in a bonfire, signifying the end of winter and the welcoming of spring. This ritual reflects the Slavic belief in the cyclical nature of life, where death and destruction are necessary for the rebirth and renewal of the world. The dramatic end of the effigy's journey symbolizes the departure of winter's grip and the hopeful return of warmth and life. Marzanna's influence extends deeply into Slavic folklore, where she is often portrayed as both a goddess and a harbinger of change. Her story is intertwined with the natural world and its cycles, mirroring the rhythm of the seasons and the eternal dance between life and death. In folk tales and songs, Marzanna is sometimes shown as a powerful but fearsome figure, commanding respect and awe. She represents the cold and formidable aspects of nature, yet also holds the promise of new beginnings. Her presence in folklore underscores the Slavic understanding of the natural world as a place where life and death are inextricably linked, and where the changing seasons reflect the eternal cycles of existence. The representation of Marzanna in Slavic folklore is a testament to the deep connection between people and the natural rhythms of their environment. Her role as the goddess of winter, death, and rebirth highlights the essential nature of these cycles in human life. Through rituals and stories, Marzanna's legacy endures, reflecting the ancient Slavic people's profound respect for the forces of nature and their understanding of the continuous dance between endings and new beginnings. In the vibrant tapestry of African mythology, Mami Wata and Eshu emerge as compelling figures, each embodying the complex interplay of life, death, and the divine. Their stories are deeply intertwined with the natural and spiritual worlds, reflecting a rich understanding of existence and the mysteries of the universe. Mami Wata, often depicted as a beautiful mermaid or a radiant woman with serpentine features, is a goddess of water, fertility, and death. Her presence is both enchanting and commanding, representing the life-giving and life-taking aspects of water. In many African cultures, she is revered as a powerful deity who controls the waters and, by extension, the fertility of the land and people. Mami Wata is seen as a nurturing force, bringing abundance and prosperity to those who honor her. At the same time, her connection to death and the afterlife underscores her role as a guardian of the transition between life and the beyond. She embodies the dual nature of water, its ability to sustain life and its potential to take it away. Eshu, on the other hand, is a trickster god whose role is both playful and profound. Known for his wit and cunning, Eshu acts as a mediator between the living and the dead, bridging the gap between the earthly realm and the spiritual world. His duality is a defining feature. He is both a messenger and a disruptor, capable of causing chaos but also facilitating communication between humans and the divine. Eshu's trickster nature means he is unpredictable and often challenges the status quo, but he also ensures that the balance between the worlds is maintained. His presence in African mythology reflects the understanding that life is a complex interplay of order and chaos, and that the divine forces guiding human affairs are not always straightforward. Different African cultures interpret Mami Wata and Eshu in various ways, reflecting the diversity of beliefs across the continent. In West African traditions, Mami Wata is often associated with the sea and is seen as a goddess who can both bless and curse, depending on how she is revered. Her image can vary from a beautiful water spirit to a formidable deity who commands respect. In contrast, Eshu is recognized across various African cultures as a crucial figure in spiritual practices. His role as a trickster god is celebrated in rituals and stories, emphasizing his importance in maintaining the balance between the spiritual and material worlds. The regional variations of these deities highlight the rich and diverse nature of African mythology. While Mami Wata and Eshu are central to many beliefs, their attributes and stories are shaped by local traditions and cultural contexts. Mami Wata's water-based symbolism can vary from one region to another, reflecting different aspects of fertility, healing, and death. Similarly, Eshu's role as a trickster and mediator can take on different forms, from a mischievous figure to a revered guardian of the divine order. Mami Wata and Eshu are more than just mythological figures, they are embodiments of fundamental truths about life, death, and the divine. Through their stories and the ways in which they are honored across different cultures, they offer a glimpse into the profound and multifaceted understanding of the world held by African peoples. Their legacies are woven into the fabric of daily life and spiritual practices, reflecting the deep connection between the natural and spiritual realms in African mythology. In the tapestry of modern culture, death goddesses have been woven into the fabric of literature, film, and art, revealing their timeless allure and evolving significance. These powerful figures, once central to ancient beliefs, have found new expressions and meanings in contemporary society, reflecting our ongoing fascination with life, death, and the divine. In literature, death goddesses have stepped out of the shadows of myth to become compelling characters in stories that explore the depths of human experience. From classic novels to contemporary fantasy, these deities appear as symbols of transformation and power. They often embody themes of mortality and the afterlife, acting as guides or gatekeepers in narratives that probe the mysteries of existence. Their stories have been reimagined to fit modern contexts, blending traditional attributes with new layers of meaning that resonate with today's readers. Film has also embraced death goddesses, casting them in roles that range from the majestic to the menacing. In movies, these figures often take on visually striking forms, captivating audiences with their dramatic presence and symbolic significance. They may appear as ethereal beings who influence the fates of characters or as dark forces that challenge heroes and heroines. Through these portrayals, death goddesses continue to evoke a powerful emotional response, drawing viewers into a world where the boundary between life and death is both mysterious and deeply human. Artistic representations of death goddesses offer a vivid exploration of their cultural and spiritual significance. Visual artists have depicted these deities in myriad ways, from hauntingly beautiful paintings to intricate sculptures. Each depiction brings a unique perspective, reflecting the artist's interpretation of death and the divine. These artworks often capture the complex emotions associated with death goddesses: fear, reverence, and awe, creating a visual dialogue that continues to resonate with audiences. As societal beliefs have evolved, so too has the perception of death goddesses. In the past, these figures were often seen as grim and fearsome, embodiments of the inevitability of death. However, modern interpretations have softened this view, presenting them as more nuanced and multifaceted characters. Today, death goddesses are often portrayed as agents of change and transformation, highlighting their roles in guiding souls and facilitating new beginnings. This shift reflects a broader cultural change towards a more balanced understanding of death, where it is seen not just as an end, but as a part of a larger cycle of existence. In contemporary spirituality, death goddesses hold a place of reverence and reflection. Many people find solace in their symbolism, seeing them as symbols of transition and continuity. They represent the idea that death is not an absolute end, but a passage to another state of being. This perspective resonates with modern spiritual practices that emphasize the interconnectedness of all life and the ongoing journey of the soul. The legacy of death goddesses is far from fading. Their presence in popular culture and spirituality underscores their enduring relevance. They continue to offer insights into the nature of existence, death, and the divine, providing a bridge between ancient beliefs and modern sensibilities. Through literature, film, and art, death goddesses remain powerful symbols of transformation and continuity, reflecting our deepest fears and hopes about the mysteries of life and death.